Jacobs, aka Crazy Sticks, in the building.
What's up, everybody?
Riding shoddy.
Riding with my best friend right here. No, 16. That's right, I said it's 16.
Getting them used to the joint for him, but an old school joint for mine. Thank you. It's one and only.
I love his playing, man. Dwayne, did you see this video? I just want to say for the first time, I learned a lot.
That's the consummate professional musician, Mr. Mike Pollard, Northeast DC, Vegas right now. I believe Mike Pollard on keys, killing the organ. Since early days, this is probably like 2000.
I was 12 years old in that year.
Did everything to, I guess, is appropriate.
Because once you say the year, I can tell you if that was during my time or not.
My son used to be like that a lot. When I was 6 years old, that was when I was 10. I don't remember my age when it's certain years.
I just know you were born in 1975, right? My dad was 20 years old.
I don't always think like that.
This one guy on the train told me and my dad, but he was mainly talking to me that my dad's generation raised his, because he was born in the 70s and my dad was born in the 50s. And when he said that, I was like, well, I really didn't respond to it, but I listened to what he said, but it sounded like he was pouring some information into my head. And then it soaked in that, yeah, by the time you were born, my dad was like in his 20s, so I'm pretty sure his generation did show you something. And y'all probably didn't even do a doggone thing they said.
Yeah, you learned it after the fact. People plant seeds, but then sometimes it don't sink in until later when you go through a situation when you're grown a little bit more, grown up, more situations under your belt, experiences.
I figured that out because even when I was growing up, a lot of older people that tried to influence me on stuff, half of that stuff I took seriously and the other half I didn't. And then once I turned 21 years old, that's when I realized they was right. Like I remember probably back in the mid-2000s when even though my dad's parents, they done been moved to North Carolina by the late 90s, but I actually started going down there for the summer when I was like 15 or 16. And when I was going to church with them, there was they had like a few different drummers, but a few of them I got kind of close to, like 2 of them. I don't think none of them is still there now, but they come every now and then because they're members of the church and their families still go there. And one of the drummers, who I miss a whole lot, he gave me some advice, and even though at this time when he was telling me this, I wasn't working at the time. Like, look, man, when you get a job and you actually try playing for a church, you're gonna know what it's like to have to either pick your job or pick the church. Now, when he said that, I was like, man, that's never gonna be me. I'm never gonna get in that situation, man. And look at me now. When I started playing for Corinthians, I got in that situation. So I knew exactly what he was talking about. But for me, I wasn't working. I wasn't playing for no church. So I wasn't thinking that way. All I wanted to do is, I see some drums right there, there ain't nobody on them. I just want to touch them.
Right. Yeah, but sometimes you gotta choose between earning a living and doing your passion or whatever. And sometimes the passion can earn you a living, but then sometimes you gotta do things that are just to make ends meet.
Pretty much, because it seems like all musicians and singers and rappers went through this. In the beginning, when they make music, they're doing it for free. Then eventually money comes involved when you actually do something about it. Now this goes out to Uncle Day Day and Aunt Donna. For lawyers who make some pretty good money, when they have gigs and stuff, they can turn down the cash because they make good money as it is right now. Because compared to the money you make and the money I make, can't top to what they make. But you and me think a little different from them. When we go to a paid gig, we ain't turning that money down. Every now and then we might donate to charity because ain't nothing wrong with that. But the difference between them, they make so much money, they can turn down the money that the gig offers them. We can't think like that.
I don't think it's because they make so much money per se. It's just that they haven't been put in a position or care to be in a position maybe to play what they're doing and do what they're doing for money. They just want to do it for fun. But it's really up to the musician. Like, I'll always play for free as much as I'll play for money, only because
you still got the heart for it.
I love music enough to do it both ways, but I just don't want to get screwed over, for lack of a better term. If there is a paid opportunity, you do want to make sure you can
take advantage
of it and put something in your pocket, your family's mouths, or whatever. But music is definitely like, it's both. It's like recreation and a way to make some income. So I take advantage of both every opportunity I can. Because especially if you're asking me to do something specific, I just, if you want to look at Reverend Poole, are you friends with him on Facebook? You know Reverend Poole, right?
Yeah, I remember him.
Yeah. He just made a post about people getting paid and calling church joints a gig. He wasn't really being as serious as it turned out, but he was just talking about...
I know one thing, he's still an excellent singer. Shout out to Poole, man.
Yeah,
You're still an excellent singer, man.
My dude. But
even though we had our differences, I still enjoyed your singing.
He was talking about church musicians calling church playing a gig.
Sometimes it feels like that, because Tony used to call them gigs at one time.
Yeah, it's just like you're just in a position to do what you're told versus like actually doing what you want to do to be a servant to God. So when people are telling you rehearse this time, play it this way, do it this loud, do it this soft, it's not really you ministering. You're being used. You're work for hire for somebody else's ministry in a sense. So I think it becomes a job because of that. Because I remember when I first got on the payroll as a musician a long time ago at Corinthian, we were back on in Chinatown. The only stipulation I made is like, well, I'm down to play because a lot of guys play for free. But when you start making demands on me and telling me that I can't do this and I can't do that, or I want this sound, can you turn it down? Can you do this? That's a whole different thing. That's not fun anymore. It's not bad. I'll follow directions, but it's time where it's a work for hire situation. And
you want to boss me around, you got to throw some green in that picture.
And that's the only thing about servant. Being a servant is cool, but it's like you can't just say I can't play anymore because I haven't been in here in a while. But I'm showing up to minister just like anybody else. But if you want us to be prepared based on what you want to lead us to do, then yes, we're Levites at that point. Like, put us on the payroll, we'll do whatever you need to if we're willing to be paid musicians. That's just basically it. And some people feel a certain way about it, but they're just randomly making up those thoughts because they're not really musicians, or they feel like singing is the same thing, which is not. Like, most of the time people volunteer to sing and they have to learn music and this and that to be in the choir, correct, but you can choose not to be in the choir as well and come back a month later and still be in the choir.
That's true.
As a musician, they don't usually let you do that type of thing or whatever. So it's not musician is more precise. You have to follow directions. You play more than the people sing. Like, you play different selections that they're not singing on. You do rehearsals that they don't have to come to. You listen to the music differently. You have expenses. You have instruments that you have to take care of. And mind you, your voice is an instrument and you can take care of that, but you take care of that every day regardless of whether or not you sing. You take care of your guitars, you change strings, you tune up, you do all this other stuff, and you possibly sing. So it's a little different. Not saying that one is better than the other, but people who don't play instruments, until you play an instrument, you really won't understand why musicians get paid. over just volunteer singers. And there are singers who get paid, yes. And singers get paid mostly because they can read music or they have skills that earn them the I need you type of thing, not just anybody to sing.
True.
I need your voice, like, to lead this song. That's a whole different thing. And then somebody saying, okay, who wants to lead this song? And it's like anybody can volunteer or anybody can get picked out. That's the difference between it at church, especially our church. Anytime anybody feels like, why isn't the choir getting paid then if the musicians throw that in the mix? Like, it's just.
And I've heard.
It's on them.
Some will, some won't.
Don't. So you're on payroll for 4 to 5 Sundays to be there. Like, regardless, you don't have an option to roll over or say, I'm going to go be at another church today. And that's the whole point. You put people on the payroll so that they can be on time and be accountable and do what you ask them to do versus what they want to do. So it's a little pretty much different.
That's a lot going around. More people rather have their way than to do what somebody else say.
True. Both ways are cool if you can find an outlet for it. If you got somebody that's gonna like give you the outlet to do your own ministry, pick the songs, sing them, put them in whatever key there are. But people wonder why people don't come around after specific, because if you're playing the same style of stuff all the time, or you're playing like, even volunteers will get tired of that.
It gets boring
and don't want to come as much. And then the people who are left hanging are kind of complaining like, why don't I have, the church is not the same. People used to volunteer and do. He was involved, and it's like, yeah, but also people got to do what they wanted to do to a certain degree. Now you have ministers and preachers who are singing, including our pastor. There's nothing wrong with it. But when he keys up a song, like, he doesn't give you any warning.
He'll just randomly do it.
And so it's like you either know it or you don't. Spirit and just doing it, and you sing along with them. It's vice versa. You're asking them to follow you. And that's a whole nother accompaniment arrangement that you have there. It's totally different. So I'm feeling how things are from a lot of standpoints. From the person who's a musician and the person who leads the church. Everybody has their angle and their needs. When you don't get it.
Pretty much, like George says, when they don't get their way, they cry about it. And they get mad, then they want to go somewhere else.
Right. I've been in the same spot so long, seen so many people come and go for silly reasons. Just because they're unhappy or uncomfortable or not getting their way. I'm like, it's to come. Like, there's other things to do, and there are also more churches to play at. Like,
true.
Find another outlet if you're not happy here, but just come serve, do your ministry, get your check, go home.
Don't bring that negativity up in God's house, because a lot of people do that.
And it's not even just negativity. It's just like, hey, it's just really a waste of time to complain about what you're playing when you knew you had to play it, and that's the song they chose. Just play it, stop playing. It's one song. Like, it's not that serious. And if it's a lot of songs and it's all boring and it's blah, 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 then you do need to find something else to do. Church services are no longer than 2 hours most of the time. Maybe 3. So
I noticed that.
That's all the time that you have to think about spending. It's not that serious, even if you played 5 songs that suck. Like, if there's going to be another Sunday where you like the songs.
Pretty much.
If you keep being a faithful Christian, there's going to be high times and there's going to be low times.
Not every Sunday is going to go your way.
Hills and valleys, like, period. Some songs are just going to be garbage based on how much you worked on them, based on who's singing them, based on the sound system, based on the instruments available. So many variables in church music, live music as well, that
oh yes,
gotta endure a whole lot of good and bad. me see if you know this song. And see if you know how old you were when it came on.
I've been. Oh my gosh.
That's the instrumental. Listen.
Hey, hey, hey.
Okay, you know.
It's Fat Albert.
Let's see if I can get Donna to play this bass line.
It's Fat Albert. The song for you. And we're gonna show you one thing or two. We'll have some fun now.
All the
With
lyrics.
me and all the gang. Learning from each other. How we do our thing. Nah, nah, nah. Gonna have a good time. Hey, hey. Nah, gonna have a good time. Nah, nah, gonna have a good time. Hey, hey,
Funny.
hey. I used to have.
It's just the instrumental. Hey, Chief, it's always my fault, man.
Not really. This time it's actually my fault.
He talking about this. Look what he said. He said it's probably my fault when the church don't like the songs.
Okay, in that point, sometime it is, but you can't always blame it on him.
I'm not leading nothing no more.
That's one thing about people. You gotta point fingers at somebody.
Yeah.
If you're not going to stand up to what you did, you're gonna blame it on somebody else. And then when everyone finds out it was you, you feel bad, thinking you getting double teamed.
I don't care about that type of stuff.
Like one of my supervisors at work told me, it's not worth getting mad. It's not worth getting mad because nobody's worth your time. Life is too short. Just be positive. Be happy. Like the song, because I'm happy. Every time I come to Donna's house and I look at the Largo Town Center Mall / the train station, I get very disappointed that they tore down half of the mall just to build a hospital. Now, there's nothing wrong with a hospital because you need them anyway. But did you have to put it where I used to hang out at when I was a teenager?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't you put the hospital somewhere better?
No, bro.
Thank God they left the movie theater. And a couple-
Hey.
Donna, you got jokes.
Donna, you gotta learn the bass line. We about to come holler at you.
Is Damon coming?
Nah.
Oh yeah, his friend is in town. And speaking of that, Uncle Day Day, well, Aunt Damie,
No.
Uncle Day Day was at the Carolina Kitchen, the same one you was performing at not too long ago.
Yeah.
And he said it was a little open mic night there. He put me on Marco Polo and let me see for myself. And I was like, Lord have mercy. Well, he did a little video for Marco Polo, and he was talking at the same time while the music was in the background.
Oh, cool.
Now, like the last time
You were at work?
I was at home when I saw the Marco Polo. He probably did it when I was at work, but I didn't view it till I got home.
Okay.
And it was like the last time I've been to Carolina Kitchen was sometime in this generation on my parents' wedding anniversary in Northeast DC.
All right, y'all. We checking out. We about to make some noise. See y'all a little later.
Take it easy because we get the job done.
He jammed your finger doing what, Chief? I'm gonna holler at you, man. Peace.
Peace.